Hey guys, so let's discuss more on what can be done with this particular application which we are trying to build. So there are a few things which we have to understand. The thing which is governing our UI, right? The the most important thing in our to-do application is the task list, right? So everything is getting controlled by this task, right? This task is an array. So whatever is present in this task will be rendered like this, right? And the way we are updating task is whenever user clicks on submit, we will be like, okay, first we will take all the previous task, we'll spread it out, and then we'll append the possible tasks, right? Now, let's see what are the issues, right? So if I try to register a task 5, if I click submit, that task gets registered, but ideally this text input should also be cleared, right? So the way we can achieve that is pretty straightforward, right? So as we discussed earlier, that the text inputs value prop is pointing to possible task state, right? So if we update the possible task to empty string, we can get rid of that issue. So now if I click on if I enter task 6 and if I submit, task 6 gets registered and the text input gets cleared. Awesome, right? So this is sorted. Also, what if a user enters nothing and clicks on submit? So I mean, you are not able to see anything, even I cannot see anything, but let's try to enter one task called a 7. If I enter task 7, you can see immediately that there is a blank space. The reason is the previous time when user tried to register a task, there was nothing in the text input and empty string got registered and it was stored in the task array, right? So that is not something that you want to do. So what we can do is we can have a check here. If possible task is equal to empty string, just return the execution, just to stop the execution of the callback, right? So now if we try to register something, nothing is happening, and we can validate it by registering a new task. You'll see there won't be any spaces, right? So okay, that's really great, right? Now we have some kind of validation to the task, right? That the task cannot be empty if it has to be registered, right? So that's awesome. Now, one more thing which we can do here is try to understand the setter function, like in general, how useState's setter function works, right? So if you see, what we are trying to do here is the set task, whenever we're trying to uh, update the task, when the user tries to click the submit button, what we are doing is we are trying to spread out all the previous tasks which is stored in the task state, right? But this approach has bunch of problems which will create issues in future. So the correct way to update a state using the setter function, and especially when the state is dependent, the new state is dependent on the previous state, is using a different approach. Let me comment it out. We'll have a set task, and what we can do is we can have a callback function here, and this callback function will receive previous state. So let me call it previous tasks, and if you hover over it, you can see it's a string array. So basically what just happened right now, that me, instead of directly accessing the task array, right, i I am using a different approach. I'm rather writing a callback function. That callback function will automatically receive the previous set of tasks, and now what I'll do, I'll be like return spread the previous task and possible task. So this is something again whose significance may not be very much evident and it's difficult to make you understand, but yeah, remember that this is a good practice to use the callback function of the setter function of useState whenever your new state depends on the previous state. So in our case, the new state, that is the new set of tasks, definitely depends on the previous set of tasks, right? Because I don't want the task 9 to be added, but at the same time all the other tasks should vanish, right? I want all the other tasks should stay the way they were, and I should be able to add one more task, right? So this is the correct way whenever you need to update a state, and the setter function you're going to use. So if the new state is dependent on the previous state, you have to use the callback function. And this is the approach, right? So thank you guys.